Now, on Road Traders, we're here to make things better. We love nothing more than to be able to turn around to you and say, well, that's one firm that's realised the error of its ways and is doing things differently. We live in hope, but it doesn't always work. MYHOME Installations Limited, based in Maidstone, Kent, is the new name for Landmark Home Security Limited, who we featured back in 2012.
The alarm system is for free.
Yes.
The monitoring and maintenance response
Yes.
is what you'd have to pay for.
They were pressure-selling alarms to old people across the southeast.
Hopefully Landmark will help reduce crime in your area, and that's, like you correctly said, you know, basically what we're doing. All we do ask for is just a good old-fashioned yes or no.
In a really quite unpleasant way.
Look, I don't want it. I'm sorry. Let's talk about it anymore.
Is this what you normally do, invite someone around your house and...
I only wanted to think about it. And when nobody would accept it, that's when I said no.
No, Beryl, you won't accept that I've been through everything with you. It's been made crystal glimmin' clear to you, and you're still kicking up a bit of a fuss, and I think you're wasting my time, really. Well, you know, I think it's been a complete waste of my time. Don't you think so?
Our salesman there was clearly in need of a bit of career guidance, so we called him back to the house one more time. You're bullying women in their 70s into alarms, you're lying about them, you're pressure selling to try and get them to sign up for long-term contracts. The company boss, Liam Walsh, placed the burden of shame squarely on the shoulders of the young salesman, saying his actions in no way represented the policies of the company or any of its employees, and that positive steps would be taken to ensure that the situation does not happen again. But it is. 80-year-old Jean Gardner was already a Landmark Home Security customer with a maintenance contract that took her to March 2017. However, in January this year, 15 months before it ran out, a sales rep came to see her. After he left, her daughter Janet found out and realised something wasn't quite right.
We discovered that they'd signed her up for a 3-year contract that wasn't going to start for a year and a half. And it was £2,598.
Janet was able to cancel the contract, but it left her appalled at what had happened.
Why does anybody take out a contract for 3 years that doesn't start for 18 months? You don't know where you're going to be in that time. You could move, you know, anything could happen.
The way they present it to you, and you sort of get into your mind, oh, well, perhaps I do really need this.
They were preying on an elderly person. They're making her feel unsafe in her own home.
That's my money, and you're on a pension, and you sort of need every penny you can get. And they're just taking it away.
So it would appear that the bad old stuff is happening again, despite Liam Walsh saying he would take positive steps to stop it. A rather more negative step, it would appear, is that Landmark Home Security are branching out and offering another service under their new name, MYHOME Installations Limited. They'll cold call you and give your house a thorough electrical survey. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Even more interesting is the fact they're hiring. So we got a man in on the inside as a trainee salesman. Before he starts, he gets a few tips from one of the bosses, William Blakey.
We prefer people to just come in with an open mind and be very much a blank canvas for us to totally work with. And if you do blindly follow to what we say, then we've proven that it works.
So what is it that our mole has to blindly follow? Electrical manager and film buff Andrew, or Bill to his mates, is keen to tell our mole about the company culture.
It's very much, mate, like Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not just saying that to try and be glamorous or anything like that.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street.
But the concept of it is everyone's very close, everyone's very cliquey.
Tight-knit. Yeah.
That's right, he said Wolf of Wall Street, the one where Leonardo DiCaprio... Yeah. Anyway, we have a man on the inside ready to absorb the MYHOME Installations culture. More in 10, but first, Steph McGovern.
Yes, we've been conducting...
Now, MYHOME Installations of Maidstone, Kent, not to be confused with companies of a similar name. We've got a man working there on the inside, and as we've discovered over the last 15 years, there can be great merit in having a ferret. It's Arthur's first day on the job, and he's being trained by electrical manager Bill. Lesson 1, the key to being a good salesman.
A good salesman knows never to believe the customer.
Yeah, you see, I thought that the customer was king. Main lesson learnt, our mole Arthur was allowed to accompany one of their salesmen out on the road. At which point, I'd like to introduce you to one of the first MYHOME installations documents that Arthur was handed. Here it is. A script for salesmen to follow when they're in customers' homes. It's got a few good pointers. You're in for a laugh. Yes, armed with his script, our mole Arthur hits the road with one of the company's top sellers, Nathan. They're on their way to visit existing alarms customer Edna King. 88-year-old Edna has a disability after a fall, something Nathan wants to use to his advantage.
If she's disabled, as wrong as it is, you do play off like that if they're disabled.
Despicable. Let's see how this pans out, shall we?
Hello, Mrs. Kings.
Yes, Mrs. King.
Nathan from MYHOME.
Yes.
Edna's been told by the company on the phone that he's come to offer a free visual inspection of her electrics, but in fact he's here to sell her an expensive report into their condition. Nathan makes himself comfortable and starts by questioning Edna on her relationship with her son.
So he does look out for you then, I guess?
He does, yeah.
He's not one of these people, he tells you what you can and can't do though, is he?
No, not at all.
You're still the queen of your castle?
Once he's tried to impress on Edna that she doesn't need her son's help to make decisions, Nathan moves on to the scary stuff.
So where your fire alarm is connected to the fire brigade.
Right.
The fire brigade have asked us to go see as many of our existing customers as possible, new or old ones,
Yes.
to give them a safety check on their electric.
We have checked with the relevant fire service and they say they've neither endorsed nor issued any specific guidance to electrical companies to contact their customers concerning fire safety.
Also, we've noticed that quite a few people don't know much about electrics.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the main problem with electrics is if it does go wrong, it can cause a fire.
Of course.
So 95% of house fires these days are because of electrics.
Right.
Yeah, Nathan just made that up. Around 50% of house fires are caused by an electrical fault. Scary bit over. For now, Nathan wants to talk money, and for this, he stays close to the script.
The whole reason we're here today seeing yourself is that we're working in this postcode at the moment. Basically, it's cost efficient for our company to focus on one post. We can see more people in a day.
And we found it saves a lot of money in fuel.
They can save money on petrol costs.
The money we save by doing it this way, we pass on to new customers.
Any money the company can save, we're willing to pass that on to our existing customers.
We're trying to encourage people to jump on board in our timescale.
Just to encourage you to jump on board in our timescale, and also to help you out with any costings.
Okay.
All we ask is for a good old-fashioned yes or no.
I have definitely heard that somewhere before.
All we do ask for is just a good old-fashioned yes or no.
Yeah, I have.
Obviously, you're capable of doing that for me?
I'm capable of doing it, but I won't do anything that's very costly until I've spoken to my son.
Of course not. Let's not jump the gun.
No.
Now, you may not have realised this, but you're watching a classic MYHOME selling technique.
For the first 45 minutes, you literally just have to ignore them.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is you have a conversation with them, but they always say, oh, my son does everything for me. You just say, that's fine, I'll pay for my time, and move on. Eventually, they run out of objections.
Okay.
And this time, their pants are on the floor, mate, and they're waiting. So...
What a charming analogy. After checking the fuse board outside, Nathan gets straight back to the script.
But the point is people do have fires because people have this persona that if it's not broke,
Don't mend it.
Don't mend it.
Ah, yes. The fire section. It is a good opportunity to create desire.
We can't physically see electrics. We can't smell it. We can't hear it.
No.
There is no warning signs, Edna. It will just go wrong. Now, when it does...
And on that scaremongering note, Nathan's completed all of his checks. It's now decision time for Edna.
What option would you like? With the 12-month quote?
No, I don't want to do it today. I wouldn't like to do that without saying my son.
So he makes your decisions, does he?
Yeah.
Right.
No, he doesn't make them. He advises.
Oh, so you can make your own decisions?
Oh, my own decisions. Yeah, of course.
So obviously you are the queen of your castle and you're still a very independent lady.
Is it me or is Nathan trying to push Edna into making a decision here?
We can actually put... I've tried to get you as much as I can. We can put £250 towards it for you today, which is a hell of a lot of savings.
It is a lot of savings, Nathan. Shame it's totally made up.
So in terms of discount, do you do it like month by month? Is that...
Which has made it a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be, and I'm quite surprised it's come out at this, but it's only 600.
600?
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
£600? Extortionate. It's more than double what we've been told it should cost for a house the size of Edna's. Edna holds her ground, refusing to part with any money before speaking to her son, and Nathan leaves. Later that day, Edna calls the office and speaks to Bill, who convinces her to go ahead with the report.
I naturally sweet deals.
And how does he talk about octogenarian Edna?
Hello, Dad.
What a lovely guy. After our mole had filmed Nathan's visit, we contacted Edna and explained to her that we'd secretly filmed the whole thing. She kindly agreed to talk to me about the experience.
I thought he was pushy. He kept saying, well, can't you make a decision of your own? Do you always have to have somebody else? I said, I don't have to, but I want to.
And of course you should be allowed to. I showed the footage we'd secretly filmed to Edna's son, Mike.
The fact is, Mike, here he is in your mum's home trying to work out a way to squeeze money out of her.
It's sickening. What would he feel? What would that man feel if someone was doing that to his mother? How would he feel? It's disgusting.
So we have a company that claims to have left its precious selling past behind, and yet they're determined to make a mint out of Edna. And it's not just the work of one salesman. We have a document which uses the language of precious selling to educate its staff. This, my friends, is a rogue company. But we haven't even seen them pressure selling for the big money. What they really want to do next is sell Edna the electrical work that they're claiming she needs. Usually we'd use an actress for this, but so we can see what Nathan would say next, Edna has allowed us to rig hidden cameras in her house and invited Nathan back. I don't think many sons would react differently to what Mike's just seen. His mum, the subject of some appalling language. But there is more to come, as Edna plays double agent for us and for once puts the pressure on the pressure sellers.
Well, we rely on you to make this programme. Thousands of you get in touch with us every week. Not every...
MYHOME Installations of Maidstone, Kent. Incurable pressure sellers with no respect for the elderly. But now it's payback time. This is a rogue trader's first. Edna, 88, a genuine MYHOME customer, has allowed us to film them doing their worst. Edna, we salute you. This may be an uncomfortable watch, but it's also a unique chance to see what could be happening in front rooms around the country. A MYHOME electrician has inspected Edna's electrics, and now salesman Nathan is back with the results. Astute Jules is there too, to hear what he says.
Hello, Edna.
Hello there.
How are you, all right?
I'm not bad.
Good, good.
So what did MYHOME conclude?
Unfortunately, guys, though, we've got 15 code 2s, potentially dangerous. 21 improvement recommended.
That's electrical engineer speak for 15 serious problems and 21 recommendations. But when we had a good look at the report, nearly half of those were repeated.
So, yeah, you know we said about there was 36 things wrong?
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible.
And
the brilliant news here is we do not need to do any rewiring whatsoever.
Hurrah. That is good news, Nathan. So what would you recommend?
So in a nutshell, fuse board, 3 face plates and a few overmix. It's a day's work.
Next MYHOME sales technique, price conditioning. Getting the client used to the idea that the job could be very expensive. They're then pleased if the price is any lower.
Now in terms of costing, do you have any idea what these things cost?
No, we've not.
Right, okay. Let's talk about rewiring and I'll break it down for you.
Why? You've already established Edna's home doesn't need rewiring.
I went to a home Monday. It was a massive house, 4 or 5 bedrooms I think it was. Everything needed to be changed. The job cost over £10,000.
Pause for effect.
Wow.
OK, Nathan, expectations are now set. You've been here for nearly an hour. You're going to tell us the price.
You're probably looking Electrics we can't see, smell or hear. There's no warning signs.
No. Back to the scare stories, because frightening customers with fake tales about serious fires is a key part of MYHOME's training. Here's Andrew "Billy" Beale teaching our mole how to lie to customers.
You just say we had a situation before where there was a fire. She burnt to death out the bag, he burnt to death inside. The neighbour's kids burnt to death. All because of our father. All because they had their electric tested.
And how does Nathan twist this story to 88-year-old Edna?
We rewiring a house at the moment for an 80-year-old lady. Only home she's ever lived in. This poor lady, she had a house fire. This is the severity with electrics.
Finally, 70 minutes after walking through the door and having told us Edna's house only needs one day's work, Nathan reveals the price.
It'll be three and a half grand total.
$3.5 grand for a day's work. I wonder if Nathan's going to suggest a made-up discount now.
So we're going to put the money that you paid for the test towards the job as it is, the 400. We're going to double it. £800 we can put towards the cost of the job for you, which has made it a hell of a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. And it's under 2.5. It's 2, 4, 5, 9 plus the admin.
Nathan, plus the admin fee, that's actually over $2.5 grand for a job that shouldn't cost more than £1,500. We've heard enough. After 2 hours of scare stories over inflated reports and made-up discounts, we ask him to leave. When we last investigated this company 4 years ago, the man at the top, Liam Walsh, shifted the blame onto a salesman in his 20s. But we've now seen it's more than just one rogue salesman. It's a school for rogue salesmen. How involved is Liam Walsh in all of this?
He's not like one of those bosses that doesn't have a clue what the company's doing, he just funds it, or he generally started it.
Yeah.
Like, he started everything and he's taught everyone. Anyone that's anywhere in this business is because of him.
Is he in the office much, is he, or is he quite hands-off now?
No. He's heavily involved.
Well, that clears that up then. And here he is, the main man.
We always hold out hope that companies will change after seeing themselves on Rogue Traders, but in this case it just hasn't happened.
Despite being exposed before, Liam Walsh of MYHOME Installations Limited and Landmark Home Security Limited has pushed his troops to continue pressure selling for his benefit.
So, for Mike, for Edna, for anyone else that's been a target of MYHOME Installations Limited, or for anybody who could be next on the list, there is something that we have to do.
I'm on my way to meet Liam Walsh to see if he can answer some of our questions.
Liam, Matt, all right. See, Rogue Traders. If only you took as much care of your customers. If only you took as much care of your customers.
Wow. That's how keen Liam Walsh is to get away from Rogue Traders and the inevitable questions that we have to ask him. But unfortunately, it doesn't work quite that easily.
Maybe someone upstairs will have some answers for us.
Hi guys, how you all doing? It's Matt Allright here from BBC Rogue Traders. Why are you going? Why on earth would you not want to be representing the company that's paying you? So drives a wedge between them and their families, tries to get them to part with hundreds or thousands of pounds. This is pressure selling. If you look at the 2008 Consumer Protection Against Unfair Trading regulations, you'll see that what you're doing is prescribed in law and is actually there. Those laws are there for a reason, you see. Billy? Hello, mate. Have you got any explanation for the way you behave towards people who could be in their late 80s, who you are determined to rip off, to take the money that they've got that they might need for the rest of their lives? Billy? Can you imagine what the reaction is of somebody's son where he hears you talking about his mother in the most contemptuous, disgusting, abusive language you can summon up? What do you think that looks like on telly, mate? Do you think that looks A, good, B, bad, C, despicable? Remind me, Wolf of Wall Street, how does it end? Is it a good ending?
Silence speaks volumes. We weren't going to get any more from Bill or Liam, so we left them to it.
MYHOME say they accept they got it wrong again, but say they've implemented many internal policies to improve services, including a revised code of conduct. The investigation, they say, is not a reflection of the way they do business. That's
despite what we've just seen in our film. They do not accept that warning their customers about the risk of fire constitutes pressure selling. They say the condition report is prepared by electrical engineers who are fully qualified and vetted, and that their higher prices reflect the fact they provide comprehensive 5-year warranties. But let's not forget, this is the second time we've featured a Liam Walsh company in the last 4 years, pressure selling in a very similar way. He is the guy in the driving seat. That's why, once again, along with Billy Beale, William Blakey and Nathan Fawkes, he is the first face on our giant new Rogues Gallery.
Now, next week on Watchdog, undercover